So, like, you know that car that you let me borrow?
Someone better heat check, mate. Let's get it.
This story is gonna make me sound really bad in a lot of ways, but I just thought it would be funny. So when I was younger, I definitely went through a phase where I was really up. I was just always into trouble. I've since changed, but there's just no other way to put it. I was just a mess when I was younger. Let's just get into it before I start rambling like I always do. So this story takes place when I was, I want to say 18, give or take. It was the prime of my life when I was really just doing everything wrong. I was in a relationship with someone that was a mess, and I was kind of bouncing around between my parents' house, the person I was dating's house, and a friend's house. So I had my stuff sporadically at these 3 different places. At the time, we were all living in Jersey. And this all happened during the cold months, so I don't know, it was probably like either December or January. On this particular day, I had left my friend's house to go to my parents' house to go pick up some of my stuff. I had gone there sometime in the afternoon, and I was planning on leaving around like 10:30 at night. I was driving, this is where things are gonna start to seem really sketchy. I was driving a guy's car that I had met in kind of a weird situation. I'm not gonna get into all of that on here, but the whole thing was weird. I'll be real with you. I had this guy's car because I was driving a different car a couple months prior that I had totaled. So, and as an adult, I can't even call myself an adult at that point in my life, but as kind of an adult, you need a car to get to work, to just to live your life. So my boyfriend at the time helped me get a car. He put the money down and I was paying him monthly, but I totaled it. So how many times am I gonna say that? Anyway, so I met this older guy, right? And I know what you're thinking, Roxy, was this like a sugar daddy situation? No, I think he wanted it to be that, but it wasn't really. I mean, I don't know, whatever. Let's not talk about that. Basically, this guy was just like, hey, you need a car, I have an extra one, do you want to drive it? And I was like, I don't know. I don't have the best track record with cars. Are you sure that you want me to drive your car? And he was like, yeah. It's totally cool. Like, you drive, take my car. So I was like, okay. Because, I needed a car. It's important to know in this story that, see, this is where, you really see I'm a piece of shit. I had told my parents that this car was my boyfriend's car, and I had told my boyfriend that this was a friend's car, and I told my friend that, I don't even know. I was just being so sketchy. So sketchy. But anyway, so this night, I was about to leave. I was getting ready, I was gathering my stuff, and because it was cold outside, my dad was, set on me warming the car up before I leave. And because this was an older car, it didn't have that feature where you could just, press a button and have it warm up. And I was like, Dad, I don't have time to be doing that. And it's just gonna be a little cold in the car, but it's probably gonna be fine. I just didn't really care to heat it up first. So. And my dad, he's a very stubborn guy. It's probably where I get it from. He was just like, no, you're not leaving this house unless you warm this car up. No, he had asked me 20 times, you're gonna heat this car up, right? You're not just leaving here. I was like, Dad, I just don't have time. So he was like, listen, give me the keys, I'll go sit in the car 15 minutes before you're about to leave, and it'll be all good. So I'm like, okay, whatever, knock yourself out. So I give my dad the keys to the car. This is a random bit of information, but it is important for the story. I had this big keychain on my keys. I think someone had given it to me. It had a crown on it. I'm definitely not one of those girls that's I'm a princess, so I have a crown on my car key. No, okay. It was just all I had, so I was using it. But it was very girly looking, so just remember that. So my dad takes my keys, goes in my car, sits in the car, heats it up, whatever. I was taking a really long time to come out of the house. He's sitting out there, and I guess he, at some point was like, where is this girl? I think that he had texted me, where are you? You coming out? I've been sitting in this car for like 20 minutes now. And I texted him like, yeah, I'm coming out right now. He's like, okay, I can leave now because she's about to come out. So he's walking back into the house, and as he's walking in the house, I'm trying to walk out the house when I realize that I left my phone in the bathroom. And to be honest with you, in my mind, I did think like, this car is on, it's unlocked, it's ready to go. I probably shouldn't leave it unattended, but it's like, it was just one of those moments, and I just like didn't think. Just turned around to go get my phone. I'm like, I'll be 5 seconds, it's fine. My parents, the way that their house was, they had like a glass door so you could see out into the street, and my car was parked on the curb. It wasn't even in the driveway. And this town that I lived, it wasn't the best area. I don't know, there was a lot of sketchy people, like just a lot of cracked out people walking around, I lived in walking distance to a train station, and then there was like apartments down the street. It was very normal for people to be walking around at all hours of the night from the apartments to the train station. And in that process, they would pass my house. So I did kind of think maybe I shouldn't be leaving my car out there. That's not mine. It's just like it didn't sink into my head like how stupid that was. So I see the car on the curb, and I turn around to go get my phone. And as I'm walking down the hallway, I hear this sound of my car taking off. Like I said, this car was older, so it had its quirks. When you would take off, like it didn't matter if you were doing 10 miles per hour, if you're doing 100 miles per hour, it made this very distinct, like loud engine noise when you took off. So as I'm walking down the hallway to get my phone, I hear the sound of the engine. Here's the thing about me. If something bad happens to me or I see something bad, my initial reaction isn't like to react, if that makes no sense. I don't react to things like a normal person. I heard the car go, and I knew that the car more than likely was just stolen. In my head, I was like, no, like that didn't just, no. So I was in complete denial for like, a minute, just standing in the hallway, like, no. Because not only is this not my car, but nobody in my life knows whose car it is. So this is gonna be really bad and really hard to explain to everyone right now. So I go ahead, grab my phone, turn around, and I look out the door of my parents' house onto the street to see the car, and the car is not there anymore. My heart sinks out of my, it's all hitting me like how bad this whole situation is. A normal person at this point would call the police. It wasn't just that a car got stolen, it was that I have this old guy's car. He's gonna be mad at me, everyone's gonna be mad at me because I have, it's like, why do you have this car? So I'm freaking out, okay? And I go into flight or what is it? Whatever. I freak out. And my reaction is not to call the police, it's to chase the car. Okay, so just like really understand what I'm saying right now. My car was just stolen. That's not my car. And my reaction was not to call the police, it was to chase the car. So stupid, like so stupid. So now at this point, it's almost 11 o'clock at night, okay? It's freezing outside. It had either just snowed or it was snowing. I was wearing heels, like heeled boots, and in my mind, it made more sense to chase this car than to call the police. Not the smartest decision I've ever made. And listen, like, I can run. Like, I used to be able to sprint. I did track and whatever back in the day. So I could run pretty quick, but, you know, not fast enough to catch a car. I don't even know why I thought that that was a thing that I could do. Even if I was able to catch the car, which would be ridiculous, it's like, what was my plan? Was I just gonna jump on the car and be like, hey, give me my car back? You know, like, what was I gonna do? It just made no sense. But regardless, that was what I did. So I leave my parents' house and I'm like, I'm running, okay? I'm sprinting down the street. My adrenaline was going that I was just screaming and cursing. So just picture that. I'm running down the street, okay, in heels, and just screaming profanities as I run. I remember distinctly that I got down like a couple blocks. One of my neighbors was outside like with their kid and they were like looking at the snow. Like, oh, like, oh, look, Jimmy, look at the beautiful snow. And I'm just running down like a maniac, screaming and cursing. So, really proud moment there. Really proud of that. I'm gonna catch this car. Like, there's no way this car is being stolen right now. Like, it's just not, it's no. But, you know, realistically, you can't do that. It makes no sense. So I run until I can't run anymore. My ankles are all up. I'm like out of breath. I'm about to pass out. And it just hits me like, Roxy, you can't catch this car. You gotta just call the police. This is ridiculous. So I kind of just stand there in the middle of the street, defeated in every possible way. This is gonna be some right now. Not only do I have to call the police, then I gotta call this guy and tell him that I got his car stolen. And then I have to explain to my parents as to why I have this car. Mind you, I'd already told them it was my friend's car, which was a lie. So, you know, they're gonna have to hear whose car this is and they're gonna have a lot of questions. Once reality hits me and I'm like, this car really just got stolen. Like, it really, that really just happened. I call the police. I had my phone in my hand, so, you know, I call the police, give them a vague description of what just happened, and they're like, okay, we're gonna send someone to your house. Just like, wait. And as I'm still standing in the middle of the street, I call the guy whose car this is. And I'm like, hey. He's like,
hey, what's up?
And I'm like, so, like, you know that car that you let me borrow? It kind of just, it's gone. Someone just stole it. I'm sorry. I tried to chase them and he's just like,
what?
He's screaming at me. I mean, you know, understandably, I just got his car stolen. So yeah, he's screaming at me and I'm just like taking it because, you know, I fucked up. So I tell him, like, listen, like, I called the police. They're on their way to my house. I'll get it all straightened out. Don't worry. So I do this really sad walk back to my house. I feel like everything's just sinking in, but like, it was such a mess. So I walk into my parents' house and they're like, what's going on? Because, you know, I just ran like a bat out of their house screaming. And I'm like, so yeah, my car just got stolen. I have something to tell you. Oh, they're freaking out. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean the car just got stolen? And what do you mean you got something to tell us? Like, what's going on? And I was like, this car is, it's not my friend's. It's like this older guy that wanted to help me and I took it and At this point, my dad, all he had to hear was like an older man, you know, and he was ready to kill someone. And I honestly don't really remember how the conversation went, but it was very awkward. So during all of this, the cops come to my house and, you know, they start asking me questions. Is this your car? And I was like, no, see, here's the thing. It's not my car. You know, I'm not a driver on the car. I just have the car. And the cops were starting to look at me a little bit sideways. I could literally see the cops had just like, the more I would talk, he was just like, so it's not your car and it's some older guy's car and like, what's going on here? Talk about an awkward moment. So they, you know, gather all the information. They call the guy whose car it is, get all the information from him, like on the insurance and all that. And then they're like, okay, we're gonna go look for it. You sit tight, we'll call you if we find anything. So as soon as they leave, my parents, I don't know how they didn't kill me. It was a lot of yelling and screaming and, you know. At this point, I was like, I deserved everything that was happening right now. I strongly believe that in life, like if you're really messing up a lot, life has a way of catching up to you and putting you back into place. This has happened to me so many times in my life where I feel like life has to kind of step in. Like I'm not this person anymore that I used to be. It did take a lot of stuff like this to mature me, unfortunately. So yeah, the cops leave. I just feel awful. I feel so bad that I lied to everyone about this car. I feel bad I even took the car. I feel bad that I got it stolen. So I couldn't even sit home and just wait. Like I had to do something. So I get on a bike. I get on a bike at like, you know, 12 o'clock at night in the snow. And I just start going around the neighborhood because I'm like, maybe I'll find the car and, you know. I mean, the odds of the car being stolen and then just being parked somewhere in the neighborhood is very unlikely, but I just like I couldn't sit still. I was shaking. I was having multiple anxiety attacks. I just wanted to find this car. So a couple hours go by. I'm like outside freezing my ass off. And I eventually just am like, I'm not gonna find this car. This car is gone. Then I go home, defeated. I feel like the absolute worst person in the world. The next several days after this, I'm constantly calling the police station to see if they have any updates. Nothing has been found. They cannot find this person that stole this car. Maybe 5 days had gone by. I get a call from the police station and they say, we found your car. I don't know if I said this already, but this took place in Point Pleasant, New Jersey, which is like central New Jersey. I guess what had happened was this person that stole the car was driving towards New York. So from where I live, you gotta go north to get to New York. It's like a straight road. What happened was they pulled this guy over because he was doing like 120 on the highway, and I think the highway is like 80 miles per hour. Side note, if you're gonna steal a car, you know, wouldn't you be going like the speed limit because you're not trying to cause attention on yourself? But this guy was going like 120. Anyway, he gets pulled over for speeding. And this is where the keychain for my car keys come in handy. I guess at some point when the guy was, you know, getting a ticket written for speeding, the cop had happened to see my keychain, like the girly crown princess keychain. And he was like, something's a little off here. You know, like, why do you have that as a keychain? And it was then that the cop, like, I don't know what he did. I don't know how that all works, but he looked the car up and found that it was stolen. So they arrested the guy and took the car to the police station. Then the older guy had to go and pick it up. The whole car was completely stripped. The guy who stole the car had stripped the entire car. The car was never the same either. Like, not only was it stripped of everything, but it just never ran correctly anymore. So yeah, you know, that was the thing that happened. I pissed off a lot of people. There was a lot of questions to be asked. I wish that I could say that I like buckle down after that experience, but I still had learning to do after that, unfortunately. So yeah, that's the story of when I got someone else's car stolen. I guess the moral of this story is don't lie to everyone in your life, because you're building up bad karma on yourself. It's like, it's just don't do it. Also, don't let me borrow your car. If you guys like this story, let me know. I have so many stories from like those days that I could tell you guys. So let me know if you're interested in hearing them, because I used to be just be a mess, you know? I don't know. Thank you for watching if you got this far, and I hope you're having a good day. Alright, bye guys.
Check when you pass me the ball, better keep that if you don't wanna see you fall. I don't need that weak shit every time you call. Better figure out your life before God check you off. And I ain't here to check it, only here to wreck it. God better bless it if you wanna whip a Tesla. I don't give a fuck if you telling me to test it. You better watch your step